Hi, I'm Mike Gant, and this is the Duty of a Man video podcast, if I can call it that. Sounds kind of highfalutin, but this is a video, and I'm going to try to bring to you 15 minutes or less of teaching on the subject of a duty of a man, which is the subject of my book and the website that hosts it. And the title of today's episode is "The Man is Key to the Family." The man is key to the family. The man is thought of as sometimes as nice for the family, but as optional for the family because, the woman has the child depends on the mother for life itself, the first 9 months of its existence, then it comes outside the mother and still heavily dependent on care. But in spite of all that, if the man is not around, if the man's not around, there's not going to be a baby. So I know technology thinks it has ways around that, but that's all it is technology trying to alter and evade reality. And you're never going to, it's like the law of gravity. You might as well try to alter or evade that. You have to live with it. Yes, you can make airplanes fly, but they still have to obey the law of gravity. And you have to take that into account. But the man is key to a family, and every man is designed by God to be a family man. In fact, that's the only real man. That's the only complete man, is a family man. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. And it all goes back to the very beginning when God designed man. And he had to take something out of man in order to create woman. When it was just a man alone, the man was self-sufficient, but God said it's not good for the man to be alone. It's not good. And he takes something out of the man. So not only was the man not enough by himself, but God had to then take something out of the man to make the woman. And that woman would be his helper or helpmate and not his competitor. She was to complement him, complement, although there's nothing wrong with a wife complimenting her husband, compliment. But in terms of design, the woman and the man were designed to collaborate together to produce and raise children up to be adults in their image. And the man thereafter, once the woman was taken from the man would be the initiator. That's why the man asked the woman to marry him. It's the man's responsibility to do that. We haven't lost that yet. If society stays on its current course, they're going to try to change that too. But the man pursues the woman. He's the initiator. Look, everybody knows that women are our favorite people. Men love women. And God designed us that way. But he also designed that we should find one woman and devote ourselves to that woman, and that together we should make a family, collaborating together, each doing our part. The man is to protect, provide, and procreate that family. And together, the man and the woman work together for the benefit of those children. They lay their lives down as sacrifices for their children. They live to make the next generation better off than they were. And there was a time when a lot of the major institutions of our society and the laws were all designed to support that. That's why there was a mortgage deduction, because the idea was, let's get a young family in a home of their own, on land of their own. Yes, they may have to borrow money and it may take them 30 years to pay it off, but if they get married in their 20s, then it's going to be paid off in their 50s, and they can ultimately retire, and it stabilized society. And where the family structure is torn down, that society is to that extent destabilized. You go into certain portions of society today where the out-of-wedlock birth rate is high, and you see teenage boys running the street like they're feral dogs. And they're lacking a father to bring discipline into the family, and it completely destabilizes society. And so people who want a quiet life, decent families, move away from those type of environments because life cannot be sustained. A happy, successful life, peaceful life cannot be sustained in those type of environments. And so the man initiates the family by finding a woman and asking her to marry him. And if she's willing, and that's absolutely critical, of her own free will, yes, I want to go with this man, then they start building a family. And this is how God designed life to be. The man initiates it and he completes it. The man has to care about his seed, his descendants. He has to care about where his seed goes. And that is a family man. That's the type of man who is like God. And what he needs is, he needs a woman to help him in that. He cannot do that by himself, not successfully. He needs a woman to help him do that. And feminism, which arose relatively early in the 20th century, it may have had, some type of beginnings before that, but that's where we really begin to notice it. And it's just done everything possible to wreck manhood in the name of helping women. But it has not helped women, and it has hurt men. And by hurting men, it's hurt women as well. And it's turned women into competitors with men rather than collaborators with men. Instead of working with men, they compete with them. And so young women today, if you tell your daughter that you want her to grow up and to be a good wife and mother, everybody, oh, no, you can't, that's not right. You can't talk that. You got to talk to her about being president of the United States, and she's got to have these great dreams and everything else just like a man has. And it's ruined society. And there's no other way to put it. And so what should life be like for a woman? Does that mean that women should just be kept barefoot and pregnant? I mean, to be crude about it, that's a phrase people use, and that's what they would say to people like me. Oh, that's all you want. Well, listen to this from the Bible, Proverbs 31, talking about an excellent wife. Some people want to say an excellent woman, but that right there is bowing the knee to feminism. Oh, we can't say an excellent wife, we've got to say an excellent woman. Well, it's a prerequisite for an excellent wife to be a woman. But listen to this, and this is the kind of picture God has in his mind of an excellent wife. An excellent wife who can find? For her worth is far above jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She looks for wool and flax and works with her hands in delight. She is like merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She rises also while it is still night and gives food to her household and portions to her maidens. If I knew you better and we were sitting in a more informal setting, I would tell you how my wife fulfills, or at least some of the ways she fulfills all of these different things. I've seen all these things in her life. And it's amazing. A real woman, an excellent wife, is a powerhouse of a human being and is the marvel of a man. When a man sees a woman like this, he's just, it's jaw-dropping. It's wonderful. And all this talk of equality, like, I mean, of course we're equal in God's sight. That doesn't have to be proved. It just sounds so condescending to try to pound the desk about that point. It's obvious. But it's also obvious that women are the delight of men's hearts, and to be happily married, that's as good as it gets on the earth. It's wonderful. Anyway, she rises also while it is still night and gives food to her household and portions to her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. And from her earnings, she plants a vineyard. Does this sound like a woman who's staying, is just nothing but barefoot and pregnant all the time? She girds herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She senses that her gain is good. Her lamp does not go out at night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hands grasp the spindle. She, making clothes, I guess. She extends her hand to the poor, and she stretches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She makes coverings for herself. Her covering is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them and supplies belts to the tradesmen. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she smiles at the future. She opens her mouth in wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household. She does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and bless her, her husband also, and he praises her, saying, many daughters have done nobly, but you excel them all. I can say that with a great deal of conviction. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord shall be praised. Give her the product of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. That is a full life. But you can't do it all at one time. You got to do some of these things in one chapter of your life, a woman does, and other things in other chapters of your life. You can't be having babies and out and grow a business or something like that. Women can do all those things, but they've been tricked into, okay, you get straight out of college, you can't let the guys get ahead of you. You got to get out there and compete with them, be a girl boss, and you got to get going. And then they wake up in their 30s and they haven't gotten married, they haven't had children. Said, what am I going to do? And reality surprises them. You can't catch up on all that time. There's a lot more I could say, but there's not time to say it here and now. I've been showing a couple of pictures the last couple of days on Daily Help on the website, and it shows a picture of a New York skyscraper taken in 1952, where a cross was lit up in the windows, obviously a symbol of Jesus dying on the cross for our sins, and then another picture of a New York skyscraper lit up in rainbow colors for LGBTQ, ABC, whatever. And that was taken, I think, in 2014. And just taking stock of reality of how the country was Protestant Christian coming out of World War II. And then, by 2014 was just, particularly so in the last 10 years, just cemented as a sexual revolution country. In other words, our country, all the major institutions buy in completely to the sexual revolution, and deviance is honored. And so I suggested we name June as Humility Month, and we practice being humble, and we try to be countercultural. Well, this trend is not going to go in a good direction. There's no signs of it reversing. But for those of you men who are willing to lay down your lives to build a family, there's great hope. I see America like a tall ship, but that's been taken over by pirates. And the pirates are in control of the rudder, and they're in control of the sails. And the people are just cargo. And what we've got to do is get off this ship. Now, what that means, I'm speaking spiritually. I'm not having anything to say about politics when I say that. I'm not having anything to say about what a political, I don't see a political solution. And it's not my place to try to promote one. What I'm talking about a spiritual solution is, and that is fathers have to turn their hearts towards the children, like it says in Malachi 4, and like John the Baptist preached. Fathers have to turn their hearts toward their children and care more about their generation, laying down their lives for them. And then the man that's where man finds completeness. I've told people for years that getting married civilized me, and having children humbled me. And there's no more important thing I've ever worked on. I haven't been great at it, but I am very proud of my wife and my children. and their children. And all I can do is commend to you the good book and the Lord who wrote it. God bless you.